Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crime Killers Cults
And beer.
and Beer. True crime from the point of view of two crazy Florida men. And I am Florida man Bill.
And
Crazy
Florida Man
Florida man.
2, Paul.
Two Paul? Oh, kind of like thing one and thing two?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
without the shirt.
I'm a trooper.
Oh, yeah.
See, my shirt says so.
There you go.
Anyway, hope you guys are ready for a crazy Florida story told by two crazy Florida men.
Yep, guilty by association.
Because we got one. All right, just have to make sure that I don't get cold watered. Where's the straw? God damn it! All right. So I have no ado. Do you?
I do not.
No ado. All right. So let's just do the episode.
Yeah.
We're covering the murder of Sandee Rozzo. This happened July 5th of 2003 in Tampa, Florida. Police in the suburb of Pinellas Park received a 911 call. The caller was a man who said that his girlfriend was in her car. The window was broken, and she was bleeding, and she wasn't responsive. Paramedics, and this is early in the morning too, paramedics and police were dispatched, and they found a woman who had been shot to death, and she was covered with broken glass and lots of blood. And she had been filled with bullets. She had bullet holes in her hands, even in her feet, her chest, one of her arms, as well as a kill shot in the face.
Whoa.
It was determined that this was point blank range with a .22 pistol, which is the assassin's choice weapon.
Oh. Pretty small round, though.
That's why you get up close and personal. They're not that loud.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
looked like a mob hit, but this was the Tampa area, and while Tampa does have a seedy underground, this type of hit was out of character for Tampa. Investors, they couldn't determine whether or not this was random or if this woman was targeted. The victim was a gorgeous woman named Sandee Rozzo. She had recently had a very bad breakup, and she had come to Tampa to start over. She was blonde, blue eyes. She was a fitness buff. She was very smart, very outgoing, very friendly. She had gotten a job as a bartender at a very popular nightclub/grill called the Green Iguana.
I heard of that one.
I've been there. It's a tiki bar type setting, and it's on West Shore Boulevard. It's a nice area of South Tampa, near the downtown, on a peninsula in between Tampa and the Tampa Bay and Hillsborough Bay. She also had a job at the Inferno, which is a very high class nightclub. She did very well for herself, and by day she was trying hard to launch a career in modeling. She wanted to settle down and have a family. She was 37 years old and divorced. Well, she hadn't been married, but she had a teenage daughter named Giovanna, but the ex had custody. I'm not sure why. There's nothing here to indicate that she was a bad mom.
Yeah.
But she was picky. She wasn't a gold digger. She wasn't one to settle. She wanted Mr. Right. And she shared a townhouse in Pinellas Park with a roommate named Tony Ponacall. Tony wanted more than just a roommate, but Sandee didn't like him like that. Obviously, the first person that the police looked at is the roommate, Tony, and he agreed to be forensically investigated for any residue of firing a gun, and there was none. No powder burns on his hands or his clothes or on anything, and he didn't even own a gun, so he was quickly ruled out as a suspect. Police asked Tony if he knew of anybody who could have wanted Sandee dead. And Tony said yes, and this sparked a crazy-ass investigation. Love triangle, jealousy, lies, manipulation, and of course, Moida.
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 But before we get into that, we need to go back to the beginning.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sources are The Cinemaholic, The Sins and Secrets documentary, season 2, episode 4, Tampa. A little bit of wiki, and CBS Dangerous Liaisons. So as Chris Berman would say, we're going to go back. Or as I would say, put a knife in that. 19-year-old Ashley Humphrey worked at Planet Smoothie in Brandon, which is just east of South Tampa. She was pretty yet plain. She was naive. She had come from a broken home. Her father was in prison for rape, and her brother was about to go to prison for manslaughter.
Jeez.
Her mother wasn't in the picture, but she was just as much of, she was just as much bad news as, her brother and her dad.
Yeah.
Her grandmother was the only one in her family that she had a good relationship with, but her grandmother had died recently. But Ashley was doing well for herself, considering she had been an honor student in high school. And a lot of setup here. A lot of setup before we get to the stuff that we can,
Oh, yeah.
joke about.
Before the juice.
Yeah. You said before the juice, and the next line in the notes is Planet Smoothie. The Planet Smoothie that she worked at is off of West Lumsden Road in Brandon, right next to a gym called Fitness for 10. She joined that gym, and she was paired with a personal trainer named Tracy Humphrey. Tracy was a popular guy. He was 37 years old. He was a big guy. He was ripped. He's 6'3". He had women swooning all over him. And he also used steroids.
Yeah.
But he had a reputation for, if you're a personal trainer, I think that using steroids should be a fireable offense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't be training anybody if you're on steroids, period. It just, no.
Right. No. It probably was a fireable offense, but they probably just didn't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. But he had a reputation as being a nice, calm, and tender guy. He was the nice guy. He began training Ashley, and she was starting to see results. And he even got her set up with hairstyling appointments with his best friend, who was a hairstylist named Hector Adorno. Adorno. Italian? Or Hispanic? Latino.
It could be, Latino.
Tracy would impress Ashley by telling her about his past, and he had been an Armani underwear model in Italy. He played football for the University of Iowa, and he even played in the Rose Bowl. He also played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was also Tom Cruise's bodyguard at one time.
Ooh. Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Ooh.
Ashley was smitten, and the relationship quickly became more than just trainer-trainee. It's really funny because in the documentary, at that point, it says they started doing more than pumping iron. And those weight racks that has the little thing with the rectangular weights on them, with the little thing that sticks through the middle, and you lift them up and down.
Yeah,
it had the little hole going in and out of the I was just like, did they really just go there?
Yeah, some of these film directors have just got to throw in these optics and stuff like that to kind of persuade people into the right frame of mind where they intend them to go. I mean, if I was going to be
So
creative like Stanley Kubrick, I probably would have done the same thing.
oh yeah, I'm not knocking them. I thought it was funny, and it almost got past me. I was just like, wait a minute, back up. Did I see what I think I just saw? So they began dating and sleeping together, and they wound up moving in together, and they got married on July 4th, 2003. They had been together since November 2002. Ashley, according to Hector, was not Tracy's typical type of woman. He liked sexy bartender types and strippers, and like I said, Ashley was just plain and naive. Random aside, I saw a photo of Ashley. Both this is online and on the documentary.
Yeah.
But I saw a photo of Tracy lying on the floor, literally bench pressing Ashley.
What?
Yeah, and her body was perfectly straight too.
Whoa. Yeesh.
It's a strong dude.
Wow.
So, what do they have to do with Sandee and her murder? You might be asking yourself.
Hmm.
Well, remember when I said that Sandee was trying to get a modeling gig by day and working the bars at night?
Yeah.
Well, the gym was Tracy's day gig, and he also worked bars at night, specifically the Green Iguana. He was a bouncer there. And he could literally get any woman that he wanted, and he frequently did. And he wanted Sandee, and he got her for a while. They dated for 3 or 4 months in 2002, and it was intense months, according to Tracy, as well as until one night the police caught the two of them having sex in his boss's SUV.
Not good.
If you're having sex in my car, we're done. That's crossing a line.
Yeah.
But he thought it was funny, but Sandee didn't. The police had seen her naked, and Sandee didn't appreciate the fact that Tony thought that it was so funny, and they got into an intense argument, and Sandee got a ride home with somebody else. Tracy says that he suggested taking time apart, and that during that time, he intentionally paraded other women around in front of her, but they allegedly reconciled a few days later, and he then said that the relationship, like all through it, was strictly sex, and he said that Sandee liked to be roughed up during sex. Tracy Humphrey was the man who Tony Ponacall, Sandee's roommate, said that could have wanted Sandee dead. Tony handed the police some legal paperwork with a case number from the state's attorney's office. Sandee Rozzo had filed assault charges against Tracy Humphrey in December of 2002. She had accused him of raping, kidnapping, and battering her.
Wow.
And there was more to this story. Friends of Sandee said that that shortly after getting back together, they got into yet another argument, and he hit her, he raped her, and he threatened to kill her daughter. He held her at his place for 3 days, abusing, raping, torturing, threatening, starving, sleep depriving, and belittling her the entire time. And he's probably whacked out on like cocaine or something like that. If he's sleep depriving her, that means he's got to stay awake too.
Yep. Yeah.
So he's probably just whacked out on like crank or whatever.
Crank or some of these steroids probably freaking contributed to it. Dude, you're pumped up on all this freaking juice and stuff like that. The this growth hormone. Holy crap! Who knows what that stuff can do to you?
Yeah, but I do know one thing that well, I don't know from firsthand because I've never taken steroids, but apparently if you take steroids, your endowment decreases.
Yeah, you lose your testosterone.
And
yeah.
Sandee didn't know what to do because she was so distraught, and she waited a week before filing charges. So Tracy was soon arrested, and he was actually surprised when it happened. He's like, I didn't do anything wrong. He said they were having a pillow fight playing around, and she threw a pillow at him. He caught it and whacked her in the face with it. He said it caught her on the side of her eye, and it knocked her contact out, and she fell face down on the bed.
That's a good story.
Yeah. Sandee's sister Tracy said that he had raped and beaten Sandee. He had tied her up and squeezed her head in between his legs, and while straddling, he had punched her in the face several times. And she did have a black eye even a week after the assault happened. A pillow ain't gonna do that.
No.
Unless it's full of rocks or something.
Yeah. Man.
Tracy was charged with assault, which could get him 10 years, and that scared him. He told Hector that he'd kill himself before he went to prison. And there was a trial coming up for Tracy, because of this assault.
Yeah.
So now let's get back to the murder.
Moida 1.
All of this made Tracy the prime suspect in the murder, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the police went to talk to Tracy at the fitness center, and when they told him about Sandee's murder, he reacted more like a concerned friend, not like a murder suspect. He said he'd be happy to talk to the police about the murder, but his attorney put the brakes on that because of the active felony battery case against him. So the investigators went to talk to his brand new bride, 19-year-old Ashley. They asked her why they were they said they told her why they told her why they were there, and Ashley was nervous. They asked her how she knew Tracy, and she said that she was his star pupil at the gym as well as his brand new wife. She's 19, he's 37.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Yeah.
Just
legal.
Just a little weird. Just a little weird.
Just a little.
Yeah. We've had that conversation before on a recent episode. The detectives asked how long that they had been married, and she said since July 4th. Well, Sandee was murdered on July 5th. Yeah, they had gotten married. They'd actually had there was no elaborate honeymoon or anything like that. They had a little makeshift marriage at the gym.
Convenience.
Just sitting there taking the vows and everything. Tracy's flexing. Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. I'm here to pump you up.
I pick things up and put them down. Yeah.
Oh, man. They asked where Tracy was on the night of Sandee's murder, and Ashley said they were at home watching movies and eating pizza. And a friend had also showed up and joined them. This friend was a woman who was also a pupil of Tracy. Her name was Toby White. She was around Tracy's age, in her mid-30s. But right as the interview was getting going, Tracy came home.
Oh.
He put an end to the interview. And then the phone rang, and it was Tracy's attorney. And Tracy held the phone up to Ashley's ear, and Ashley repeated what the attorney had said. He told Ashley to say that she didn't want to talk anymore. So they hung up, and Ashley said, I don't want to talk anymore. But that seems like a bit of controlling behavior right there from Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just if you're holding a phone, like what? She's not capable of holding the phone by herself. It's just right there. That just seems off. It's just like
that's over controlling. Yeah. Someone does that,
yeah.
They're about to freaking do something after they hang up the phone.
Well, not in this case, but usually, yeah.
Yeah.
The detectives thought that she was holding something back, but when they ran her information, they found out that she was an honor student with absolutely nothing bad on her record. No criminal, not even a parking ticket. Not only that, everything that she told investigators before Tracy had showed up had checked out.
Huh.
Pizza delivery did take place that night. The pizza driver described Tracy. Tracy signed the credit card receipt. Now Brandon is about 40 miles from Pinellas Park. Pinellas Park is a suburb of St. Petersburg, clear across Tampa Bay.
Mm.
And they also asked Toby White to come and talk to them, and she did, and she confirmed the alibi. And it seemed like Tracy. It actually seemed like Tracy did not commit the murder. He had a rock solid alibi, proved on several different levels.
Yeah. Mm.
So this case was all over the Tampa area news, especially in Pinellas Park, because Pinellas Park didn't, murder didn't really happen in Pinellas Park. Maybe across the river in Tampa,
Yeah.
but not in Pinellas Park. Maybe up the road a little bit in St. Pete, but not in Pinellas Park. The detectives were stumped, and they looked into Sandee's ex, Derek Hanno. And they learned that about their daughter who was living with him. He, Giovanna, and Derek's new girlfriend, they lived in Daphne, Alabama. There was a custody battle going on, and they wondered if Derek had come from Alabama and killed Sandee.
Hmm.
So the detectives went to Alabama, and they questioned Derek and the girlfriend, even Giovanna, as well as people that knew them, and they determined that both Derek and his girlfriend were in Alabama. They had been in Alabama for months. They hadn't left the state, so they were ruled out. And not only that, Derek and Sandee were actually cordial with each other, despite the fact that there was a custody dispute going on.
Yeah.
That's kind of unheard of, but I'm sure it does happen. Well, it did happen. It happened in this case.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
So, who done it? What do you think, Paul? Give me your thoughts.
I'm I'm leaning toward Tracy. Or
Okay.
Tracy had somebody do I don't that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Maybe. No.
Well, I'm not going to tell you right now.
No. I don't
I'm not
expect
going to tell you
you
if you're right or wrong.
to.
So the investigation was stalling, and they were worried that the case might go cold. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the police got a phone call from Toby White. The plot thickens.
Hmm.
She wanted to meet with them. And she wanted to meet with them like now. She was scared.
Yeah.
Now she had confirmed the pizza and movie story to the police, but she confessed that she had lied to them. She wasn't even at the house that night with Tracy and Ashley. Well, it wasn't until July 6th, the day after the murder, that Tracy had pulled her aside at the gym and told her the entire story. Well, that Sandee had been murdered, and he demanded that she confirm their story. He said that if she didn't do it, he didn't know what he'd have to do, and that was a clearly veiled passive-aggressive threat.
Mm.
I think roughing somebody up, like bamboozling somebody like that in a place of business is also grounds for termination.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you don't own the place, you're fired.
You're
Out.
fired. So Toby had no choice, or at least she thought she had no choice. Tracy must have been very convincing because Toby also was clean, and he didn't have anything to use against her to blackmail her with, but she was still afraid. She was afraid for her life. He had that to use against her, but
Yeah.
yeah. And after calmed down for a day or two and everything, so she's like, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. Good on you, Toby. Now, so this clearly pointed to Tracy as a suspect once again, but his alibi still checked out. Cell phone records, credit card receipt, the pizza guy's account, all of that put Tracy at home the night of the murder. So now what do you think?
The pizza guy.
Thank you for calling Domino's Pizza and Hitman Services. How can I help you?
Right.
Your pizza there in 30 minutes or less. Your hit done in an hour or
Yeah,
less.
exactly.
Or your money back. So police looked at the cell phone records and they noticed something. They're like, okay, maybe we missed something when we looked at the phone records. So they look at it again and they realized that they had in fact missed something. They noticed that during the night, over the span of like hours, there were lots of calls to and from Ashley. Now, Ashley was supposedly at home eating pizza and watching movies with Tracy and Toby. So why would he call somebody who was sitting on the sofa right next to him? That wasn't planned. That was not planned at all.
A cloud thickens.
Tracy was in fact home, but Ashley was not. Cell tower pings came from a tower near the Green Iguana for several hours. Sandee was working there that night, and when she got off work, Ashley's phone started pinging to other towers. From West Shore Boulevard to Highway 92, across the Gandy Bridge to Highway 694 to Pinellas Park to Sandee's townhouse. Then back to 694, back across the Gandy Bridge to the Selma Expressway and into Brandon, and then back to Tracy and her place.
Wow.
You know, not a good idea to call your conspirator in the process of committing crime.
No.
I mean, I could say that I just spoiled it, but it's pretty freaking obvious at this point. So, investigators didn't think that this added up, though, because remember, she was squeaky clean. And they did more digging, and they found out about Ashley's rough upbringing. Not that that meant anything, but it's just like, okay, well, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't even know why. I mean, lots of people have bad upbringings. They don't go kill somebody.
True. That's for somebody who just can't let something go. Just let it go.
Yeah. Let it go.
Apparently they haven't seen Frozen.
The pizza never bothered me anyway. So now we're going back to Tracy. Excuse me. Now we're going back to Tracy's courtship of Ashley, if you want to call it that. It was more like grooming. Yeah. He told her about the assault charges and about the upcoming trial. He said they were bogus and Sandee was just a psycho. She was an old girlfriend, and when he tried to leave her, she beat the shit out of herself and blamed it on him. I thought it was a pillow.
Right. That's what I thought. Yeah. Now he's changing his story.
Yeah. Police pictures of Sandee, victim pictures, show 2 dark black eyes, bruises on her forehead, as well as what appears to be broken blood vessel spots all over her face. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's tiny, like red spots, like all over her face, and like almost like acne, but not raised. It's just like just red spots.
Yeah.
So, broken blood vessels, maybe.
Yeah, broken capillaries, blood vessels, contusions.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, especially on the face, like around the noses and stuff like that. That's where all the small capillaries are and stuff like that. And when those burst,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
She also had like dark, nasty looking bruises on her forehead. Um, but and her nose in the picture, her nose also appears to be bent.
Ooh, broken nose,
And just keep in mind,
broken.
this is a full week after the assault. After
Wow.
her ordeal.
Yeah.
But it was a pillow,
No.
or 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 she did that to herself. I'm sorry, you know, nobody is going to fuck themselves up that bad.
No. No.
I don't
Unless
care if it's
unless yeah, the only way somebody could do that to themselves is if they were absolutely under the influence of, like,
uh
bath salts
yeah,
or something really heavy.
yeah. I mean, you're not just gonna, I mean, if you're sober and you get pissed off to the point to where you're gonna start beating yourself, you're not gonna do that much damage to yourself.
Mhm.
You're gonna avoid your nose at all cost.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna avoid your eyes at all costs. You might punch yourself in the lip or something,
Mhm.
but you're not gonna hit yourself repeatedly to give yourself, to have the broken capillaries and all that stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
You're not gonna do that. At worst, you might if you're beating the shit out of yourself, the worst you might get is a broken lip and a bruise.
Mhm.
You're not gonna do all the other damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just your self-preservation instinct is gonna keep you away from your eyes and your nose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Mm.
um, but investigators needed more evidence, and they came up with a very risky plan. Now, if this plan went bad, it could lead to even more moida.
He does.
They wanted Toby to wear a wire and to go talk to Tracy and try to get a confession. Now, Tracy had already started suspecting her, of possibly talking to the police. He had started hugging her, like, and patting her down,
Ooh.
trying to see if she was wearing a wire.
Yeah.
He had never really been like physical with her as far as like touching her and stuff like that before, other than like helping her, exercise or whatever.
Mhm.
They weren't like that. They weren't an item. They were just friends.
Okay. Yeah.
So they concealed the wire like very well, and they gave her a fake subpoena for her, you know, for her testimony.
Mhm.
And then they sent her to talk to Tracy and Ashley at the gym. They came outside and there was an unmarked police car there in the parking lot in case the meeting went bad.
Mm.
And they were also there filming, and you can actually see the actual video online. Um, the three meet in the parking lot, and Toby explains that the cell phone tower records, the cell tower records indicated that Ashley was en route to Sandee's place and back the night of the murder. And they wanted to question Toby about her initial testimony. Uh, Tracy and Ashley freaked out, and he was just like, and Tracy's just like, he says, well, I had hoped that I had really been hoping that that wasn't, that wasn't, wouldn't have come up.
Yeah.
Um, their reactions, at one point she started just saying something and just like, what did she say? I didn't write this part down, or I didn't type this, but she's like, yeah. So he said it's like it tracked her all the way from from here all the way over to Pinellas Park, and
Mhm.
then Ashley said, "Where she was murdered."
Mm.
Oh, dumbass!
Damn.
I'm glad criminals are stupid, aren't you?
Yeah, they always slip at some point in time. They always slip.
Yeah.
Mm.
So their reactions gave all the evidence that they needed, and it proved that both of them were involved in the murder. They now needed to tie Tracy or Ashley to the 22 pistol. And they spoke to everybody they could find who knew Ashley and Tracy. Now, Ashley's mother's boyfriend said that Ashley had asked to borrow a gun from him, and he had loaned her one, a Ruger 22 caliber pistol. He said, "Oh, at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but then, hindsight, it did seem kind of odd because Ashley just wasn't really all that. It was never really interested in guns."
Hmm.
I mean, just
Man.
it makes me wonder. I mean, just to come out and say something that dumb,
Yeah.
it just makes me think that it just meth is bad. Okay.
Oh man. Well,
If I were a betting man, I would bet that Ashley's mother and her boyfriend lived in Gibsonton.
oh yeah.
It didn't say though.
The circus town.
Well, it's not just a circus town. That whole area is just really, really low, very, very low income. Like
Mm-hmm.
the nasty, like old beat up trailer parks and stuff like that. It's not just the circus town. It's just the whole area is just bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So like they call that the Harlem of Florida.
Yeah. It's so crazy because when you drive through that area, you'll see these like very really tall signs with like a sign on it, probably about 10 or 12 feet up, and the
Mhm.
signs say like this is how high a storm surge can be during a hurricane. Like 10 to 12 feet
Whoa.
coming off of Tampa Bay, not off of the Gulf of Mexico itself, but Tampa Bay. That's freaking
Damn.
crazy. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense because if you have a storm surge coming through from the Gulf of Mexico, the force gets all like bottled into Tampa Bay. So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. I'm surprised it wouldn't be more than that. I mean, I've seen storm surges 20, 15, 20, sometimes even 30 feet, depending on the storm, especially a Cat 5.
Yeah,
Mm,
Cat fives don't really hit Tampa very often, but
yeah.
the stronger ones don't. And I'd bet that probably the way it sticks out is probably why the larger hurricanes don't hit over Brevard County.
Yeah.
The the way it sticks out like that, it does the same thing over in the Tampa area. It sticks
Mhm.
out like that, which means that it's shallower, which probably steers the hurricane away.
Yeah.
Like Hurricane Ian, for example, was headed straight for Tampa, but it wound up making landfall in Fort Myers, about 2 hours south.
Mhm.
Hurricane Andrew, when it was initially making its approach to Florida, was headed a beeline towards Cocoa Beach.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, the winds had already started to pick up, and then all of a sudden, at the very last minute, it turned south and
Hit
basically tore
Homestead.
up Miami.
Yeah.
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 So there's definitely something that keeps the the more powerful the deeper churning hurricanes away from the Space Coast. And I think there's something similar over in the Tampa area
Yeah. Yeah.
because they don't. I mean, the smaller hurricanes get through, but the bigger ones
Yeah, I
usually
know,
don't.
yeah. Yeah. It's a conspiracy. We'll
Huh?
talk about that on the seance. It's a conspiracy. It's planned, man.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is natural.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is natural.
Yeah.
And you got MacDill Air Force Base right there at the tip of that peninsula that I was talking about, where the green
Mhm.
iguana is. That's in Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
So, um, it makes sense. Patrick Air Force Base over in Satellite Beach. Would they put an Air Force Base right next to the ocean if they thought there was like a chance that a Category 5 could get through? No, they wouldn't.
Oh, no. No. Yeah.
So there's definitely something. Oh, it's not Patrick Air Force Base anymore. It's Patrick Space Force Base.
Yeah. Space Force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but 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 I digress. But still, interesting to talk about. And I never really thought about Tampa having the same type of like repelling, natural repelling ability to repel a large hurricane away that the Space Coast has. But it definitely happens. The large hurricanes don't hit Tampa. The big powerful ones don't hit Tampa.
Yeah.
They'll either hit north or they'll hit south. Just same thing as the powerful hurricanes over there, like in Brevard County, where I'm from.
Hmm.
They don't hit there.
Yeah.
In my entire life, Brevard County has been hit by 2 Category 3 hurricanes, and that's the most powerful that's ever hit there. Matthew, and I think back in 2004 when like 6 big storms hit Florida all at the same time. One of them made landfall in Brevard. But I think that was I think Charlie. There was a female's name. I can't remember. There was a big dragon statue at the tip of Merritt Island there, the southern tip of Merritt Island. A huge statue. It had been there for decades. And this one particular hurricane back in 2004 knocked it down. That sucked, but I can't remember which one that was. But those are the only 2 Category 3 hurricanes that I can remember in my lifetime ever hitting Brevard County.
Yeah.
But anyway, hashtag, but I digress. They weren't sure if they had enough information to arrest Tracy for the homicide, and they wanted to arrest them both at the same time. So they dug into his past, and what they found out was he was a criminal with a violent criminal history. Lots of these crimes were committed in other states, and they didn't come up when Sandee had filed the charges against him because there were other states.
Yeah.
He had abused at least 8 women, 8 that there are charges for, and like we always say, I'm sure that there's more. Those are just the ones that came forward.
Yeah.
And he had done lots of times for these over the years. There was no way that he could have been a model or a collegiate football player or pro football player or Tom Cruise's bodyguard. He was full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he was on probation, and a conviction for assaulting Sandee would have violated that conviction. Violated the probation, meaning that he was done like dinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had to have Sandee killed before his trial, which was less than a month away at that point, or he would be going away for a very long time. So they could arrest him for a violation of probation. And on the days leading up to the murder, after Ashley had gotten the Ruger, Tracy and Ashley had gone to a firing range. So there's the violation. Convicted felon. He's not allowed to have firearms or ammo or be around it.
Yep.
So officers arrested Ashley for Sandee's murder, and Tracy was arrested on federal firearms charges and violation of probation. When Ashley was being interrogated, she was stone cold silent, like not saying a word, like a hardened criminal, and she was likely coached by Tracy or even brainwashed. Like, if you get arrested, this is what you do. When they told her that she would be charged with murder, she simply said, "Get my attorney." And they're like, "What do you mean?" You're like, "My attorney, get him here." They're like, "Okay, but why?" She's like, "I didn't do this. Get my attorney." So this tiny little thing, naive and all that stuff and everything, is going up against a freaking detective and holding her ground.
Yeah.
She was coached.
Yeah.
Trained, brainwashed, whatever. But the detectives were ready, and they showed Ashley Tracy's rap sheet as well as photos of the woman that he abused, and also told her what he had done to Sandee. And they told her that he wasn't an underwear model, a Hawkeye, a Buccaneer, or a bodyguard for a Scientology superstar actor, or anything else other than just a freaking piece of shit criminal.
Damn.
And that was not to mention all the crap that he had done. Oops.
Yeah. Mm.
Uh,
But she wouldn't budge, though. She was standing
John
by him.
Travolta. John Travolta's going to come kidnap me after that comment.
Uh,
Oh, you just wait, Scientology. We're going to, in due time,
yeah.
we will cover Scientology at some point. Not one of the ones that I'm looking forward to doing, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're all of a sudden John Travolta. Hey man, you want to come take a ride in my plane? Hey. No, John, I'm good.
Yeah. That's when I pack my parachute.
Yep.
I don't care how that plane's going down. I'm going to be out of it before it hits it.
Yep. But she wouldn't budge. But Ashley wouldn't budge. She was standing by her man, but they had been holding something back. And when they threw their wild card on the table, Ashley spilled the beans.
Oh, yeah.
They told her that his best friend and her hairdresser, Hector, was also Tracy's lover, and he had been involved in a sexual relationship with him the entire time that they were together.
Ooh.
So she spilled the beans, not because of finding out that he had lied about everything that she told it that he had told her about his past and all that stuff. Not because of that. Not because of the fact that she found out that he had tortured a woman for 3 days straight and had abused several, at least 8 others. Not because of finding all that out. Found out because she had been cheated on. He had cheated on her with a guy. That's what shit.
That's kind of degrading for a woman. That would piss anyone off. You think that made her upset?
She was upset. She said that Tracy had first started plotting to kill Sandee several months earlier and began incorporating her into it by having her spy on Sandee, even having her buy software and things to track her. He sent her on surveillance missions under his orders to kill Sandee if she got the chance.
Oh.
She initially didn't want anything to do with this, but Tracy told her that killing Sandee was the only way that they could be together because he was going to be going to prison more than likely if Sandee didn't die. He had manipulated Ashley into falling deeply in love with him. I mean, that was his whole plan. He was just looking for somebody that he could brainwash. Didn't matter who it was. And apparently it didn't matter what gender it was either.
No, obviously. Yeah. He needed somebody to be completely loyal and in love with him, regardless.
Yep. It just had to be somebody young and naive, and Ashley came along at the right time. If a young and naive little gay kid had come in, he would have done the same thing. Although might not have been able to marry him because I don't think gay marriage was legal in Florida in 2004 or 2003, whatever. I don't think it was. It was coming soon, but I don't think it was at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that wasn't until 2009, 2010 maybe. Yeah.
It happened during the Obama administration. I remember that.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so maybe he was looking for a girl specifically because he wouldn't have been able to completely dig into a guy because he wouldn't be able to marry a guy at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was looking for a girl, but he told her that he couldn't have killed Sandee, and excuse me, he even told her that if he couldn't have Sandee killed, he would kill himself. His claws were so deep into Ashley that, she didn't even stand a chance. I mean, I'm not justifying what she did, but I'm just saying, her brain was totally mush at that point,
Yeah.
you know. So on July 5th, Ashley disguised herself and went to the green iguana with her gun. Well, her mom's boyfriend's gun.
Mhm.
The couple who may or may not have been meth heads.
Yeah.
um, she
Hmm.
was planning on ambushing Sandee in the parking lot after she got off work, but she fell asleep while waiting,
Oh my god.
and she woke up right as Sandee was pulling away. So she followed Sandee home, like I said, across West West Shore, across the 92, the Gandy Bridge, 694 into Pinellas Park. Um, she followed Sandee home. Sandee put her car in the garage, and Sandee and Ashley had blocked the driveway. She got out and she went up to Sandee's car. She broke the window with her pistol and opened fire. 8 shots total, all hitting Sandee. Like
Oh,
not one of them missed.
whoa.
Even at point blank range, it's still coming for at least one or two
Mhm.
bullets to miss if you're just like opening fire like that. Even for somebody that knows what they're doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
not one of the bullets missed.
Fuck. Hmm.
She then bolted back to Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. I
Yeah.
meant let's go to Brandon. Brandon is the name of the town, people.
Mhm. Yes.
It's a pretty nice town too.
It is. Yeah. It's really nice.
Well, on east of I-75, it's a nice town. West of it, not so much. Well, west of it is like the eastern side of South Tampa, which isn't all that great.
Mm. Yeah.
So, yeah, and the traffic in Brandon sucks too.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, man. Mm. Got stories of traffic there, man. That Brandon
Mhm.
into Riverview.
Riverview, yeah.
Nobody knows
That
how to drive there. It's like a whole different world. It's like you've drove in through a time warp or some weird time thing, and everybody drives differently. It's not
mhm.
far from the steering wheel being on the opposite side of the vehicle, but it's like, "Really, people? Stay in your lane."
Yeah. So the state offered Ashley a deal. She pleads guilty to second-degree manslaughter, and she gets 25 years in prison. This avoids a life sentence or the death penalty. In exchange, she testifies against Tracy. With her testimony, they could get first-degree murder charge for Tracy, which gets that piece of shit off the street. Now, honestly, I think 25 years. I mean, did she commit cold-blooded murder? Yeah,
Mhm.
but a lot of murderers have gotten off, with less time.
Yeah.
People that would have been more likely to offend as well,
Yeah.
than more likely than she would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that without Tracy, she never commits murder,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think
He
that
wasn't in the
once she gets
picture.
out.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, if Tracy was never in the picture, they would have never knew each other. I'm sure that
Right.
nothing would have like happened like this.
And even if they gave her like 10 years or 15 years or something like that, she gets out, she's not gonna kill anybody else.
No.
She probably never touched a gun again. Well, she wouldn't be able to because she's a felon,
Oh,
but
yeah,
still, you know.
yeah.
But um, so Valentine's Day, 2006, 3 years later, trial begins. Prosecutors open by detailing Tracy's criminal history and Sandee's assault charges against him. The defense countered that Tracy was 40 miles away and couldn't have done it, and there was no concrete evidence that he had orchestrated the murder. Prosecutors responded by putting Ashley on the stand. Um, and she was not the same person. This is 3 years, well, like 2.5 years later. She did not look like the same person. I mean,
Mm.
she had put on like 60 pounds and
Ooh,
everything.
damn.
She looked, you know, she in the video, I'm not laughing, but in the video it looked like she had like acne scars all over her face and everything, which was kind of odd for somebody in their 20s that
Yeah.
didn't have them when they were 19,
Huh.
but um it was, she was definitely not the same person.
Mm.
But she talked about how hard she fell for him almost immediately, and that he had started badgering her about killing Sandee, and she went along with it because she loved him. And of course, she's 19. He wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, if he runs this exact same, if a naive, say, 30-year-old woman walks in, um, and he runs this exact same thing on her, she's not falling for it.
No.
A 19-year-old, they haven't lived yet.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, you know, and plus she had had such a rough upbringing that she was just looking for somebody to love her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Desperate for needing somebody that
and
would
because of
seem
his
to
age, there might have been some
Yeah.
because of his age, there might have been some daddy issues there too.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure of it.
Mm.
Trace, oh, this is great. This is crazy. This is great. This is hilarious. um, Tracy took the stand saying that Ashley was the one who wanted Sandee dead. It was her violent upbringing that had turned her into a jealous partner with deadly aspirations. Yeah, he plays the victim the entire time, and it's pathetic. He's like the state of Florida wants to hold it wants to say that this is my fault when it's actually her fault. Yeah, he's just like being a little bitch and everything.
Yeah.
um, this big bad bouncer bodybuilder boogerhead he was nothing but a gutless coward. He was too chicken shit to get his own hands dirty, and he was pretending to be afraid of a 5'3" little girl who weighed 110 pounds soaking wet.
Jeez.
Well, at the time, she
Yeah.
weighs a lot more than that now, but still. It's like I was watching the video, some of the video from this and everything, and it's just like, God, how can you even call yourself a man at this point? I'm not, it's just like, oh well, she did it, and I was, I had to go along with it. I had to let her do what she wanted to do. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Mhm. He was a wuss.
Yeah, he was a wuss. I mean, he was a wuss that could probably kick my ass, but he was still a wuss.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it ultimately broke down to he was just petrified of going to prison for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was trying to do anything that he could do to like even if he makes himself look like a total freaking wuss and all that stuff, he's going to do anything that he had to do to avoid going back to prison.
Yeah.
I think he was scared about it. Maybe he was somebody's bitch at some point prior, and somebody that
Yeah.
was much bigger.
Yeah.
Like John Coffey in the Green Mile, but not so friendly John Coffey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absorbos.
You dropped the soap there, boy. I want you to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But February 24th, both sides arrested. Tracy was found guilty of first-degree murder after only 3 hours of deliberation by the jury. He got life in prison with no possibility of parole. And he was, he was so scared to go back to prison, but now he'll never leave it. He's in the South Bay Correctional Facility in between the Everglades and Lake Okeechobee off of Highway 27, right next to a massive sugar processing plant.
Yeah, I know where that's at.
I do too. I drive by it every week, every day, pretty much. um,
That's
oh, the
that's very remote. Which is good because it's yeah.
well, South Bay is a sleepy little town, but
Yeah.
but there's also that correctional facility over in Moorhaven,
Mhm.
like on the other side of Lake Okeechobee, like past Clewiston. Tyler Hadley is there.
Mm.
He's the guy that do you know who he is? He's the guy that killed his parents and then threw a party at his house while his parents were dead in their bedroom.
What the hell?
Yeah, somebody will cover at some point. That's a crazy ass story.
Yeah.
But he's there, and then you got this chucklehead that's in South Bay.
Huh.
But what I liked about the fact that he's the location of the one that Tracy is at, it's like when those sugar when they burn off the previous crop of sugarcane
Yeah.
off of the sugarcane fields and everything, it stinks to high
Mm.
heaven, like almost as bad as a paper mill.
Oh.
And I just hope they open his window whenever the sugar plant does that.
Right. Uh.
When they're burning that stuff off, when that mixes with like a fog, like in the morning, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's
Oof.
like whiteout conditions, like snow, like in Wyoming or something like that. During
Mhm.
whiteout conditions, you cannot see 10 feet. You can't see 10 feet in front of you. I've been in whiteout snow conditions before, and that's exactly what it reminded me of the first time I was in that down there.
Yeah.
You know, going through the Everglades. But on March 10th of 2006, Ashley was sentenced to 25 years and is at Gadsden Correctional Facility in Quincy, Florida. Now that is way up in the Panhandle,
Mhm.
and it's on a county that's as far north as you can get. Like the county borders with Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah.
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 Either Alabama or Georgia, one or the other. I'm not sure, but
Huh.
but they couldn't be further apart from each other.
Oh, I know. Yeah. 'Cause yeah, 'cause between South Bay and Gadsden, you've got, Rayford, and then you've got, Coleman.
Stark.
Yeah,
Well,
Stark.
Stark and Rayford are the
Yeah,
same thing,
yeah.
but
And you've got
um,
Coleman, which is a federal yeah, federal facility.
the first time that I had ever heard Rayford Prison referred to as Rayford Prison instead of Stark, because I had growing up it was Stark.
Yeah.
That's where old Sparky is. But doing an episode really early on, and it was like an old ass episode. Or it was an old case from like the 1800s. It was a crazy ass case and everything. The Ashley gang, and I
Oh,
did I
yeah.
did that one. I did that one with a fill-in host because Todd was sick, and this is the first time that I had ever heard Stark referred to as Rayford, and I'm like Rayford Prison. I don't must because John Ashley had escaped from there like multiple times. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with that story? The Ashleys, the
yeah,
Ashley gang.
yeah.
But he had escaped from there, and I made the comment. It's like must not have been that strong of a prison. It, it was the freaking Florida State Penitentiary. Rayford and Stark are the same freaking place.
Yeah.
I don't know why it has two different names like that, but it does. They're the same place, and,
Huh.
and it's like, yeah, it's just like I kind of once I've that's why I was sitting there, I'm like wondering how the hell did that come up? I haven't thought about
Yeah.
that episode in a long time, but um, but yeah, this episode would have that Valentine's Day thing that we're part of.
Yeah.
This one would have been a good one to do that for that one too. Although I don't think we could have made a 15-minute episode out of this story.
Mm.
There's too many parts to the story.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There was a lot of parts in the Dahlia story as well.
True.
And we managed to get it done in 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's not our episode. That's not our episode in our feed about Dahlia Dippolito. That's the one we told a condensed version of the same thing for a Valentine's Day multi-podcast collaboration. So anyway,
Yeah.
um, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. I appreciate the hell out of it. Check us out on our socials, follow us there, engage with us. We we like to talk, obviously.
Yes, we do. Because otherwise,
We're
we wouldn't be
podcasters,
podcasters.
right? So yeah,
Yeah.
all the socials are linked in the episode description, and if you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy.
Heck yeah, people.
Either way, tell somebody.
Tell somebody. Like, share,
We have a
comment, subscribe, follow,
right.
and listen to wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Well, you don't need to tell them to listen to it where they listen to podcasts because they already are.
Well, it depends on what they listen to. They might be not listening to our podcast.
Then
might
they
be
wouldn't
listening
hear
to
you
somebody
say
else's
that.
podcast.
But you saying that's not going to be on somebody else's podcast unless it's on yours.
No, well, ours.
No, yours. Your podcast. The Seance.
Oh, or this one.
Oh man. Oh shit. Oh man.
Cross marketing.
Yeah, there we go. But anyway, yeah, definitely. And yeah, we have a core group of people. I mean, our episodes get the same amount of listens every week. We have a core group of people. We love every single one of you. Just tell your friends.
Yeah.
Please. Grow the
Tell
show.
everybody. Yeah. Tell everybody.
Yeah, because it's obvious that we have a core group of listeners because every episode it grows a little bit each week, but still the main bulk of people that listen happen within the first week and a half and everything, and all the episodes wind up at about the same amount of listens. So it's just like we have a core group of diehards.
Mm-hmm.
So we need you guys to tell all your friends.
Yeah. And don't forget to comment. If you got any questions, if you got you know, you want to plug something like, hey, what about this or what about that, or you know, it gives us fuel and ammunition for future shows and possibly
Yeah, if
coming
you
back
want to,
to a particular story and stuff. So
we've had several episodes that have been like listener suggested. So I mean, we're game for that. CKCB podcast at gmail.com, or you can comment on YouTube, you can comment on Apple. Although it takes like a month for a comment on Apple to get up there, and we only have 2 comments on Apple so far, and one of them says boring. That's from T Marie 13. I know she's listening. Love you, T Marie 13. She gave us a 1 star. Said we were boring. But anyway, until next week. Later.
later on.